Today, it is with immense pleasure that we introduce you to a visionary artist, Carlotta Parisi, whose story is as extraordinary as her creations. We will explore the depths of her artistic narrative, where every artwork created tells a story of resilience, love, community, and renewal. Born in the picturesque town of Montalcino, surrounded by the lush landscapes and ancient oaks of her magical birthplace, Carlotta was immersed in an environment rich with artistic influence. In this enchanting setting, her deep-seated passion for the arts begins to take shape and ultimately influences her destiny. Her journey began in Milan, where she pursued studies in editorial illustration. However, her heart remained tethered to Montalcino, and so she returned to her roots, establishing an art studio in the historic center of her hometown. Early in her career, Carlotta's work flourished through three-dimensional paper sculptures. Here, she captured the imagination of audiences. Her work garnered widespread acclaim, attracting the attention of the press and national television channels, and solidified her reputation in the art world. Yet amidst her creative success, she faced personal challenges, which forced her to evaluate the creative path she was on and ultimately led her to a new chapter. Today, guided by the harmonious rhythms of nature and the echoes of her past, she is steadfastly focused on her current research, experimenting and exploring the production of colors extracted from minerals and plants, rediscovering ancient recipes long forgotten. Poetry and a visceral collaboration with nature converge as marks, colors, and natural elements overlap, weaving beautiful works so rich with meaning. These explorations form an indissoluble dialogue with her beloved land, infusing a deep sense of place and belonging. In addition to her artistic endeavors, Carlotta opens her space and warmly shares her path with others. Through this, she aims to forge deep connections within her community, inviting others to join her as she openly reveals the authentic depth of her work. Today, we celebrate not just her artistic talent and her remarkable spirit, but also her resilience, compassion, and unwavering authenticity. Please join me in warmly welcoming Carlotta Parisi into our studio today as 129th Friday feature artist, by leaving a comment below and letting us know where you are in the world. Hey Carlotta, how are you?
Fine. Hi, good morning. But it's no morning for you.
Welcome, welcome. It is such an honor to have you here, and I am so excited to tell your story and share it with everybody. There are so many people tuning in. It is so exciting.
Good. I'm excited as well. Thank you for inviting me to you and Angie.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. It's been such an honor following your journey and having you in our studio today. I'll just show some of the lovely names of the people. There's so many familiar people.
Ciao Eva. Vicky. Wow. Ciao Vicky. Janie.
So many. Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh, from Berlin. All around the world.
All over the world. Marielle Peters, welcome.
Marielle.
Pascal.
I see them on Instagram, the beautiful artwork. So honor.
So wonderful. Oh, so beautiful. There's so many people tuning in.
Christine. Hi. London.
Really beautiful. Carlotta, we have so much to get through, and I'm just so excited to share your story with everybody. So I think we should just get started, if that's okay with you.
Fine.
Yeah. I would love to start by asking you to share with the world a little bit about your family and your family's artistic influence on you as you grew up, and if you could give us a little bit of background in your creative world and your family. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, I grew up with my two sisters in Tuscany, in a little tiny town called Montalcino. Many of you may know this town because of the wine. we became very famous all around the world. And so Montalcino is known for the wine. And I grew up there with my family under an ancient oak tree because my dad deeply wanted to be in the countryside with the family. So I would say that growing beside him was a big gift because he's a very talented man. And we always play with everything we find around us. And so it was very creative. And we used to play with leather, with wood. He was making pipes at that time. He was making shoes, boots. He was especially going to see and visit um, the people, artisans in their studio workshops. And he was, as a younger guy at that time, he was 30, learning the technique. So for me, it was very, very important.
Wonderful. I've got some really beautiful photographs I'd love to share with people. This is really beautiful of you and your dad. Looks like you're having a very intense conversation about something.
Yes. This is really something. The photographer who is in the last month was with me many days, months for my new video and my new website capture. I didn't know this moment, and I was very, very happy to see, because it's really something very common in our days. Just sharing our opinions and thinking about how to go on in our work. And he's working in a different way. Obviously, it's more wood, clay, big stuff. Men like to do things which are bigger, and he always tried to force me to go in that direction. I try to stay in my small, but maybe one day. Yeah. But this is a very beautiful moment. Oh, this is so nice, because I can see, even though you cannot see my dad's face, you can see his pride.
Yeah. So much so. And this is really beautiful.
This is the Room of Wonders. He created this room in Nostra Vita, our family winery, where he collects the beauty of the environments. Instead, the Room of Wonders, like in the 16th century, were made to collect things from abroad. He did the opposite, this vision of appreciate what you have around you. So the Room of Wonder, made of beauty that live and stay around you, very close to you, to keep your eyes open.
Oh, that's incredible. Incredible. And I love this picture of him with your son.
This is Elia, my son,
Yeah.
and this was the last harvest, and they have a deep connection. My son is very active and hyperactive, and I think he's very similar to my dad as a child. So.
And Carlotta, I see you just got married, which was a bit of a surprise for us all on Instagram. How beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. Yes, we decided at the last time we wanted to keep very simple and familiar. So, and it was a surprise for us as well, because, we didn't plan so much in advance. So we kept like this.
I recommend everybody head to your Instagram page to have a look at your wedding photographs. They are just so beautiful. They really, really are. And when we had our discussions, we spoke about 𝐂𝐞𝐞𝐤, which I have to show a photo of 𝐂𝐞𝐞𝐤 and you. I'm a huge animal lover, clearly like yourself, but please tell everybody that how you named him.
𝐂𝐞𝐞 is the name of a champagne. And since we are Brunello producer, it's weird for someone to know that I name my dog as a champagne. But this is because I've seen for the first time this Lagotto breed, which is an Italian ancient breed, in a family which is producing champagne in France. So I didn't know that existed the brown chocolate Lagotto. So I went to Naples to have the brown one, and I wanted to celebrate the moment, remembering that was for them that I discovered the beauty of this breed. So 𝐂𝐞𝐞𝐤 is because of this.
That's wonderful. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, you've obviously had a really beautiful, rich upbringing, and it comes across in your work, which is so special. Yeah.
Thank you.
Carlotta, tell us a little bit about your studies and that era of your life.
Yes, I study as an illustrator in Milan. I moved in Milan when I was 19, and for me, Milan became a special part in my art. And the only thing I didn't go to, I didn't make academic studies, and sometimes I regret a little bit because studying illustration, it was such a section. It didn't open
Yeah,
maybe my vision like would have been if I was doing academy. And I think the wonder and the fact that now I'm diving deep in this new technique that I'm learning through classes like yours, it's because illustration was too reductive for me, but it was beautiful because it gave me a job, even though I didn't work as an illustrator for 100%, but it gave me, Milan is like this, it gives you rules. And so I'm happy. I don't want to have regrets. I think in life everything happened for a reason.
yeah, and if it's for a reason or a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah. And then from your studies as an illustrator in Milan, you then moved back to Montalcino, correct?
Yes. After almost 10 years, I moved back to Montalcino. And obviously, it was a huge step for me because I felt also, to be honest, because today I want to be, I'm like this, but also in front of audience, I want to be honest. I felt lost. I felt lost because as an illustrator, it was very difficult, like it's nowadays, to work. There are many beautiful illustrators in the world and very lack of job because not so many books are published. And I felt also always this big competition. So when I came back to Montalcino, for me, it was like to be I was the opposite of success. I was lost. I lost my game. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
And so it was a very difficult moment, even though I was with my families and I was happy to be back. But a part of me felt that I didn't have success in what I deeply wanted for 10 years in Milan. But my sister was very helpful because at that time she had a graphic and communication studio, and she invited me to be in the floor in the basement of the studio, which was open to the street, to work and to do what I was able to do. Because growing up with my dad, I learned so much, not just to draw, but just to use my hands and making three-dimensional stuff. So I started binding books and making felt things, and this was my regeneration because I forgot for a moment the illustration, and I moved into my hands creativity. And I opened this little tiny workshop at the top hill of Montalcino. My sister was upstairs, and she always called me if she needed illustration. So at that moment, also illustrations were back in my job, because in the area nobody was an illustrator. It's a very touristic but rural area. So I worked a lot as an illustrator at that moment, obviously in the local newspaper, local events, but we did so much together with her.
Incredible. And then from there, and I've got a video, a YouTube video to share with everybody. In 2008, that was really the beginning of your paper sculptures, your paper mâché sculptures, which is pretty incredible.
This was because someone invited me for an art exhibit. And illustration is not considered high art because it's more a job, more handicraft. So I thought, what I can do to be part of that beautiful art exhibition. And I said, oh, my dad once, when we were kids, he did a puppets theater for us. And I did some paper mache with him. I would do a sculpture in paper. So that was the beginning.
Incredible. Incredible. I'll show everybody the video and then we can talk about it afterwards. Is that good? Yeah, great. This is so beautiful.
Nasco illustratrice, ho fatto la scuola di illustrazione a Milano e riguardando le mie vecchie illustrazioni vedo una tridimensionalità, una voglia di uscire dal foglio costituita dalle luci, dalle ombre. Questa cosa, una volta che sono diventata scultrice, è finita. Adesso i miei disegni sono molto più leggeri, sono molto più grafici, quindi forse l'illustrazione era solo una tappa della mia formazione. Credo che la forza delle mie sculture sia nel linguaggio, questo linguaggio semplice, queste forme in cui le persone si riconoscono e che li riporta in quel mondo bambino che accomuna tutti noi. Sicuramente il mio vissuto di bambina è molto presente. Il momento di più grande ispirazione è stato quando mio babbo ha realizzato per me e le mie sorelle il teatrino dei burattini in cartapesta. Questo materiale perciò è sempre rimasto nel mio cuore. Della carta amo la consistenza, la leggerezza, la resistenza, amo il calore della carta, tutto quello che alla fine esce anche nelle mie sculture. Mi piace quando mi hanno detto che le sculture mi assomigliano sicuramente per le spalle larghe, per i profili pronunciati, ma forse anche per quella leggerezza e al contempo quella stabilità, quelle radici che per me sono importanti e che rendono le mie sculture molto stabili. La mia terra è presente nella mia arte in maniera molto importante, perché questi colori, queste linee per me sono un nutrimento che si ritrova nei colori, nella scelta delle immagini, dei soggetti. I miei temi sono per lo più le persone che mi circondano, sono i cavalli con cui sono cresciuta, i gatti che mi hanno sempre catturato nelle loro forme, nella loro linearità, sono bambini, sono uomini e donne che popolano la mia vita. Quando il fare ci innamora è il mio motto. Credo che la sincerità sia una caratteristica fondamentale nell'arte e credo che si mantenga viva, almeno per quanto mi riguarda, attraverso la ricerca, attraverso la meraviglia. Finché riuscirò a alimentare il mio lavoro con la curiosità, credo che le mie sculture saranno in grado di emozionare.
Amazing. How do you feel when you look back at that time, Carlotta? How do you feel?
Oh, I feel proud because all this arrived after a big, difficult moment. So, you know, to be able to come out with your own personality and with your own voice is something that is priceless. And to see it, even though I moved from that, and sometimes, to be honest, people is contacting me for sculptures. I at a certain point I erased my website, and because I didn't want people remember me just for that. But now I am in another stage in which I'm grateful and I'm proud, and it's nice to see. It's very nice to see. And what I'm saying at the last moment, it's also the reason why I stopped making sculpture, the last sentence.
Yeah. And we'll come back to, in the video, there was a part where you said sincerity is paramount for your work. I'll come back to that. Carlotta, what inspired those pieces? Did you have a vision? Were they there in the moment? Did you do sketches?
When I was thinking about that exhibition, because that video was filmed while I was preparing, and at the end was finished my exhibition called Carta Incanta. I don't know if there is, because in Italian sounds like we say carta canta, so it's a word joke that maybe doesn't make any sense in English. Anyway, when I work in an exhibition, I usually go deep in a theme. Which was my theme at that moment? My life. And so I was going deep in my roots, my parents, my sisters, and so I was drawing, sketching all these things in a figurative way, but also something symbolic, like the family, which was the three of us, me, Ali, and Luca, in the I don't know how to say, in this kind of swing, when
Yes.
you have this swing. And this is because it gives instability. To be mom for me was a big deal, because I didn't have my freedom anymore. I felt like this. So also the three of us were described in a very figurative way, but also this kind of instability was something symbolic.
Yeah.
Because it's for me important to combine the two parts. It was, not to be too much descriptive.
Yeah. Let me show some of the images and then we can talk through them, Carlotta.
This is, I want to just say 2 words, because this is a dream became true. The drawing at the back of my sculpture is my dad drawing. I had a dream to make an exhibition with him in Paris. Our surname, as you can see, is Parisi. So I already had the title, Parisi in Paris. And actually, we had the exhibition in 2017. We were in the Mâché, his drawing and my sculpture. And that was a shot of the two of us work
Together. That's really, really special. Wow.
Oh. This is instead of the paper circus. Actually, this is not much, because I did a lot in very few years. This is 2011, while the video is 2017. So this, actually, the paper circus is the beginning of my paper mâché journey. And in this case, I worked because I was invited by a performer who changes his dress very quickly. Is a performer called Arturo Brachetti, and he invited me to present my artwork in the foyer of the theaters in Italy, where he had his show. So in that case, I worked in a subject which is very, very beautiful, and he also had a show years earlier about circus. And in that case, I did transforming sculpture. So the front and the back were different. So the lion had the man who is working with him at the back, and they were moving.
Yeah, incredible. And then this series?
Oh, this is earlier, before the circus. This is my first ever work that went in exhibition. And I work in, obviously, women subject, you can see. And the beautiful women with me are my sister Judy and her daughter Matilde. And this is really the beginning. You can see they were a little bit shiny, because at the beginning I like to do a gloss final painter, but I don't like anymore. But it's nice to see the evolution. Now I like to be more natural. But
So moving into these works, which are so beautiful.
This is, it's working with paper is a little bit like working with clay. And in this, you can be confused, because the color, and because I don't work with layers of paper, but I work with a kind of pastry, or they say. So it seems like I'm using clay, but this is actually newspaper pulp.
Yeah. And this is beautiful as well, Carlotta.
this is me, is representing me and my dreams. So it's like a little lady dreaming and looking up. Most of my figures as a sculptor were looking up, and more than one people say why, and I didn't know how to answer. My sister Judy told me once, I think you know why you are looking up to the sky. Actually, she never told me why, but maybe now I know why I'm looking up.
Incredible. And I have to say, this is my favorite.
This is the one I was telling you. Actually, this photo doesn't show you the basement, but the basement is not stable. So people can see more photos, I think. I don't know, because when I shut down my website, it might be that maybe many photo didn't show anymore, but maybe in the video there is a. So anyway, this is the instability of a family. You have always to put your energy to find balance.
Balance. Incredible. Carlotta, coming back to how important it is that you create art with purpose and authenticity, you mentioned to me in our previous conversations that in the end you found that you were repeating, not creating.
Yes, what happened to me was that I was so successful. At the beginning, I was shocked and happy and proud because I had this little tiny exhibition in this little village near to Montalcino, and this beautiful artist came to ask me to show my art in his tour. And national TV came, national newspaper came, and I was like, "Oh, Mamma Mia, what happened?" And I was so happy, and people start knowing my work and asking me sculptures. And as an illustrator, there was a moment that I also went in their directions. So I did commission work. So they sent me photos of the families and cats, and I was making so much. And also this paper circus came, but at the end, I was stressed because I was producing more than 100 sculpture a year, and they were not enough for people asking me for them. And so I became very, very good in making those because, I learned by myself. I am self-taught as a sculptor. And so I didn't have a specific technique. I just move on by myself. So I became very technically, very skilled, but little by little producing so much, and also having a baby, because at that time Elia was just born, so lots of energy to obviously dedicate to him, especially because I'm usually an artist that creates at night. And when I became a mom, this was impossible. Anyway, I felt that I was reproducing myself. I felt that I wasn't able to give soul to each creature I created. So I started feeling that my work was not speaking anymore. I mean, maybe it was beautiful, but I knew that at the end wouldn't communicate.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in that moment, you just made a decision to stop. Is that effectively what happened, or there was a
No,
cat?
actually, it was not possible. I doing something like that, but I was talking to my sister Judy of my feeling, and I said, "Okay, Judy, now I'm ready to share my technique." Because I was kind of jealous, to be honest, because an illustrator, I was not successful. So when success arrived through the sculpture, people start asking me about technique, and I was jealous. In this case, I think of Lorna, that she's so generous. And I was jealous, protecting my technique, and I start seeing popping up copies of my work all around the world, because social media gives you so much, but they also gives you so much. So I start seeing my sculpture in Iran, in the east part, and in the States, in Italy. And I say, oh wow, my sister used to say, you have to be proud, that means that you are good. And I was not proud, I was just very angry. But anyway, this is something that happened. And at that point, I said, okay, I'm ready. I can share. I vision this group of women, because women go to class and workshop, no men, in a circle, and me sharing my technique. So in 2019, I was just preparing a project for a school, an international school, which is in Italy, but welcomes so many international students, to make, because actually my sculptures were illustration in three-dimensional. So that's what I wanted to teach, to show people how to make a sculpture from their illustrations. And then you know what happens. So everything changed quickly. And but this was my stage: reducing, making, and start sharing.
And Carlotta, you speak about your sister with so much fondness, and she was obviously very important in your process at that time. And then, of course, you tragically lost her, which you've kindly agreed to share your story with everybody.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I don't mind, because it's something that it's my way to be, also sharing. I know that it might be shocking for someone, and they're surprised where I talk about this, but I feel to do it. So in 2019, while I was preparing this project to share my sculptures with everybody, teaching the technique, my sister Judy and her husband Gianfranco lost their life in a mountain accident in the Mont Blanc. So it was August 8, 19, and my life changed completely in 1 second. I was working at the Two Sisters at that moment. It was the last commission work for a dear friend. She was pregnant with me, so I did an exception and say, okay, I will do the Two Sisters. They are twins. So I was working in this project while I got the call. And so that sculpture never been finished. It's still in the workshop of my dad, because I moved to my dad's workshop just 2 days before she said goodbye. And so that sculpture is still there. And so from that moment, my life obviously completely changed, because she was working with him, his husband, in the winery. So at that moment, I didn't have any doubts to be beside my parents, to go on in the winery storytelling, because it was so important to me. And also, to be honest, I was in a stage in which I didn't properly know what to do. Everything lost his sense. And so Nostra Vita, which is my house since I was born, was deeply important for me, because when you get lost, you have to be linked, attached to something stable. The big ancient oak tree was there. My parents was there. My other sister was there. So I decided to stop making my art for a while. Obviously. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Carlotta. Do you think, Ange has just asked me this question, and it's really something to think about. Do you think that because your statues were looking up, because your sister knew?
Yes. Yes, I think she knew that I was looking something behind things. And I was able, not just seeing, but I was able to see something behind this, which is,
I'd love to show everyone a photo of the three of you.
Yes, this is Judy, me, and Valentina in 2011 when I did my first sculpture. And this is when my sister Judy just recovered from breast cancer. And she had very short hair for that reason, instead of curly brown hair like for the rest of her life.
Amazing, amazing. I feel like your story and your connection with her brings such beautiful vulnerability to your newer work. It's like you're honoring her all the time. And you actually said that to me when we were talking, and I found it so beautiful because I too have lost a sister. You remember her with honor and gratitude, and that was so beautiful.
You know, my new work arrived while I was helping my family making visits to my winery. I was at that moment, instead of my teeny tiny workshop in Montalcino open to people, I was immersed in the nature every
Yeah.
day, walking in the vineyards, seeing the process of nature. Actually, Montalcino is very rural, so I was not in New York City. I never lost the connection with nature. But you know, just being really inside the nature, between the woods and the vineyards, was different. And so I didn't have any time to make my art, and actually uh, I didn't feel like doing. I was not, you know, in pain for this. It was fine. It was the
Yeah.
moment to stop. It was the moment to reset. And so what happened that little by little, I've seen so much nature around me. And also, you know, for me, a big change was given by meeting Joe Orswell
Yes.
in internet, and because I started seeing nature as a potential of new art for me, a new way to express myself.
And that's when your experimentation started, and that
Yes,
journey began, didn't it? Carlotta,
yes.
before we move there, I would love to show some photos of the winery. And if you could tell people the history, because you mentioned that it's been in your family for quite some time, correct?
I mean, the winery was before our house, so we grew up there. And just in 2000, we planted vineyards. So the house became the winery, and this is me and my dad in the last harvest. You can see the ancient oak tree I mentioned in many
Yes.
times, just at the top of the hill. And so I actually, instead of vineyards in the 70s and 80s, we had horses imported
Oh,
by United States by my from United States by my dad, the Appaloosa horses. And just in 2000, my dad is very eclectic, so Nostra Vita move and change. I like to say it's a nice expression that he says Nostra Vita is like a tree, and sometimes branches grow in a way that it seems weird, but they always find the balance toward the
mm,
light, you know. And so working in Nostra Vita for me is deep connection with nature.
yes. You speak of it. You speak of it a lot. Um, Carlotta, you mentioned when you did Joe's course, Joe Horswell's, and Ange will put the link in the group for everybody. Her work is so beautiful. That it was a big moment for you because that
Yeah.
was kind of a catalyst for your experimentation and your exploration phase. And I was reading on your website how, and I'm so fascinated by this, that you've managed to use ancient, long forgotten recipes in your creation of your inks and your dyes. Incredible.
Oh, actually, everything started when because touring people in our property, in the room of wonders that you have seen a little bit, there is a bibliothèque of trees. So it's there are kind of books, and when you relate it to one tree with the just indigenous Tuscan tree, and inside there is many things coming from the same tree. So in the oak tree that is our symbol also, there was a little tiny bottle of ink, medieval ink made by the friend of my dad who helped him to make this beautiful room. And so I've been talking about that Ferrous Gallicum ink forever. So at that time, since I was following Joe classes and I had all the ingredients needed for that ink, I started making my ink. The only thing I missed that year was raining water because we have been without rain for 2 months. So I was praying for rain for vineyards and for my ink. So at that time I used regular water, but the medieval recipe talk about raining water, you know. So and so at that moment I start making that ink because it was related to Nostra Vita and it was relating to the class I was taking with Joe. And after that, I start seeing all my woods around me as a potential. I remember 2021, just printing everything I was seeing around me. You know, I was collecting addictively every single leaves and seed. And yes, before you make me a question, but yes, my sister is inspiring me every time. And you know, the sycamore seeds that I try to put in, I put in every single botanical prints I did as a signature.
Oh, that's beautiful. I've actually got some photographs here. I'll grab them for you to show them. Give me a second. So I thought this was beautiful. And then that one.
Oh, this is something I got created from the class of Joe, because what I was interested in is botanical prints on paper. Because paper, I was an illustrator working on paper, as a paper mâché sculptor, again paper. So I'm not interested in making these botanicals to dress myself. I was interested in the fact that she was so beautifully printing paper. And obviously I cannot reproduce what she does because she is amazing. And I was completely captured by the red and black of her prints, given to the fact also that eucalyptus is Australian, is not Italian. So even though I collect eucalyptus in Italy, it's not the same. So, you know, you have to accept that maybe for a reason you cannot print that beautiful red.
Carlotta, I think before we move on, I'd love to show people the video, which is, I must tell everyone, we're premiering it tonight because no one has seen it. So the whole world is seeing this for the first time. We are so honored. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to share it with everybody now.
Thank you.
La mia terra, la Val d'Orcia, con le sue linee morbide e i colori pastello, dove terra e cielo si contendono infinita bellezza. Il bosco di alti cerri, cattedrale laica, parole di foglie e passi, piccoli tesori che si svelano solo a occhi vigili alla meraviglia. Voci di tempi passati, restate impigliati tra i tronchi, che come colonne sostengono la memoria. Sono cresciuta in questo mare di bellezza, dove le mie mani e i miei occhi si muovono da sempre curiosi, in questi spazi incantati. Inventare, costruire, sognare e plasmare i sogni con carta, stoffa e colori. Il mio unico modo di esistere e camminare nel mondo. Che sia stata l'illustrazione o la scultura, il linguaggio scelto, ciò che ha sempre mosso i fili del mio fare, è stato incanto e meraviglia. Oggi mi muovo in queste terre e sotto questo cielo più consapevole del dono di avere proprio queste terre e questo cielo come dimora. Oggi sono il luogo in cui cammino a diventare i miei colori, la terra, il bosco. Terre, foglie, bacche e legni a farsi colore, tinture, inchiostri e pennelli per raccontare i miei pensieri. Raccolgo, assemblo, ritaglio. Scrivo diari immaginari con alfabeti che la ruggine arricchisce di tutta la vita che mi è passata sopra. Cucio, rammendo e ricamo la mia storia. Canto di vita e morte che si intrecciano e commuovono la mia anima e muovono le mie mani. in un sincero tentativo di restituire parte della bellezza ricevuta in dono. Con gratitudine.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
You must be so proud of that. It's really, really beautiful.
Thank you. You know my story, and so we talked a lot recently. So I hope this express deeply my moment, my way to be now.
It does. I was trying to think of something to say. It's like you've taken a sabbatical of the soul and you've gone in a whole new, beautiful direction. It's incredible.
Thank you. My land is helpful because, you know, I really live in one of the most beautiful. I know every place is beautiful, but I feel honored and blessed because I think many of these soft line and colors are in my art. You know, now more than ever, because I totally make my collage with a piece of things that I find in my daily walks, and I use dirt, I use soil, I use leaves, but also before, while I was especially moving in the Carta Incanta, so the second moment of my paper mâché sculptures. The first were very colorful, bright, and if you see my collection of cats were really, now they are fun for me, but I say, oh my goodness, but they were coming from my illustrations, you know.
Yes.
Then when I came back here and was so deeply involved in this environment, the brightness of that colors became more earthy colors. So something always been in my art. Also in that moment, I reduced the brightness of the color, was the blue of the sky. The blue of the sky is always popping up in my earth color. It's again, maybe it's that sky that I was seeing with the faces of my figures, is still in my collage, often with a little touch of blue, sky blue.
I've actually got some photographs. I didn't think of that, but how right you are. Here we go, this one. Yeah, you're right. There's blue in a lot of your work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carlotta, you mentioned that you are right near a place called Terra di Siena. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Good.
That excites. So please tell us a little bit about this. Sounds like an amazing place.
Yes, actually, I found this place near to my house, just half an hour, thanks to a friend of my dad, which is involved so much in nature. And years ago, he brought me jars of the raw sienna and burnt sienna. And so I prayed him to bring me in that place, and I was able to collect some bucket. Yeah, of them, and it was such an adventure with my dad. And actually, for many people, that they see that clay or that soil is just mud, but for me it was like seeing gold. And I collected, and now I am really working with that raw sienna, which was the Terra di Siena Naturale, which was shipped all over the world for about a century. Now
Wow.
that factory has been closed in 1920, but actually before, you know, thinking about I'm using part of the color that was sent all over the world from that little teeny tiny part of Tuscany. I feel so honored. So it's in my DNA, you know. So often I use that bright yellow, and it's the original one.
Amazing. I've got some such beautiful photographs.
Yeah, I like to explore and to make pastels, watercolor, liquid watercolor, or I recently made also wax crayon, because actually I love making pastels, but I don't use so much. I don't feel related to the dust in my and so in wax is much more close to my personality. So I learned also how to make a wax crayon.
Yeah. And look at these colors.
Because I usually, in this moment of my life, it's more the process that I like, that the final piece of art that I'm going to make. I'm not sure what I'm going to make in the future. I don't feel like when I was taking Joe classes in 2021, and people invited me to expose my botanical prints also in the States. I say, no, this is just a moment. It's just a process. I deeply knew, even though I wasn't enjoying and I was addicted by printing leaves every day, I knew that was a stage. And nowadays I feel it's a more head stage, but still a stage. I don't know my future.
I think that comes back to how your authenticity to your work is unwavering. You are, you're on a path, and yes, you are collecting skills as you go, but
Yes.
you are inherently authentic to your sense of place. It's down to your materials, down to the fact that you are making your own tools.
Yes, I think all this is just enriching a way to express, but I'm not sure in which way I would like to. And maybe I won't have any, never ever. I will always move ahead without having the exact way to express. Galleries are always looking for artists who express themselves in that way, so they are recognizable. I don't know if it's the right word, but maybe I'm just like this. I move on, and or maybe it's just before I didn't study so much about technique, that this is my moment to try, and I will come out with, like, for the 10 years I've done paper mache sculpture, I will find something very mine. Now I feel I'm looking at other people work. I'm wondering, will people see, oh, this is a Carlotta Parisi work, while they're just scrolling is their Instagram, or just saying, oh, this is what people is doing at the moment. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. And actually, I tried not to care, but moving on and being in research and searching deep instead of surfing, like we were saying.
Yeah, I must share some of the beautiful comments coming through in the chats, Carlotta. This is from Vicky. Hello, Vicky.
Ciao, Vicky. Oh, thank you for joining us.
That's beautiful. Nature is so healing and full of inspiration for her as well. And Robin Gordon, welcome, Robin. It's wonderful that you're here. That's fantastic. Robin's from South Africa.
Wow, ciao, Robin.
And then Patricia Smithyman, who lives just up the road from me. It's beautiful.
Grazie,
Lisa.
Patricia.
Yeah, such a beautiful video. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, really, really beautiful comments. So, so inspirational. I think people will watch that many times, Carlotta.
Thank you.
Lovely. Oh, Sue France, welcome, Sue. It's wonderful. Sue's also in love with Pigment Earth at the moment. Oh my, that speaks on so many levels. I too have lost someone so dear last month, and from fat I'm translating grief using Pigment Earth and stitch to make meaning. I'm sewing with laid thread, lots of rainstorms. I'm new to your work, but it speaks to something ancient in all of us, doesn't it? That's so beautiful, Sue.
Yeah, thank you, Sue.
Yeah. Carlotta, before we move on to regenerative stitch, which I absolutely loved our conversation that we had, I want to talk about the significance of the sycamore pod in your work, sycamore seed in your work. And I've got some pictures.
Yes. It was something coming naturally, but at a certain point, seeing this sycamore seeds flying, I was thinking about my sister and my brother-in-law who died in this kind of flight. And every time I meet people who met, especially my sister, I see in their eyes love for her, what she inspired him, because she was very inspiring for many people, because after she cured by breast cancer, she wanted to be helpful as much as possible for other women which were involved in this process, because she felt lost, she felt bad, and she felt alone. And so she created a group of walking, and she tried to organize a walk every month for people to get together, not just bring breast cancer survivors or heal, but people who wanted to stay together to feel better and to feel not alone. So this group was called Hope. And the group, the other woman, when this happened, they decided to move on and to go ahead and to make walks. And my mom, the only thing she does outside the house is joining this group. And so this is so important, because sycamore seeds, many of them, they are going to die. I don't know how many seeds in the wood are going to give birth, but not so many. I think my sister Judy and Janfrey and sycamore seeds, because they flew away, but touching the ground, they give birth again, love again. Because really, my sister continues nowadays to inspire people. There are lots of people in the group Hope that now joined that didn't meet her, but I feel they know her, because this group is still moving for her energy. You know, it's so important, and this is very inspiring. She was teeny tiny comparing to me, but she was so strong. And this is not just because now she's not here anymore. The other sister and me, Valentina and I, we are, you know, Valentina is very shy, very reserved with my mom. So it's another connection. She was teeny tiny, but powerful. And she was the column of our family. And she still is the column.
Amazing.
So sycamore seeds for me is a tribute to her life. And I try to stitch or to every time I can.
Really beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful. Carlotta, we spoke about regeneration of stitch, and I found the most beautiful thing on your website, which, if you don't mind, I'd love to read.
Sure.
Sewing has the power to connect us with a form of ancestral meditation, where the needle and thread lose their material value to become like rosary beads to prayers. A rhythm linked to the breath and the heart that connects me with very intimate and irrational part of myself, one that is sincere and absent of any technical formulation. That is so beautiful.
Actually, it's what I try to convert in words, what I feel when I'm stitch. I'm new at it, because to be honest, being an illustrator, I was, you don't stitch. Actually, you can, because the results are way to illustrate, but I wasn't not that kind of illustrator. So this arrived with my new research. And for me, it was a totally shocking, in a beautiful way, moment, especially last winter, because as you may know, in Italy, we didn't have a deep winter this year. So I was waiting for the winter to do my new meditation books, and the winter didn't come. So the book you are showing are the last winter meditation books. And I was so amazed by the fact that I was connected. I didn't know while I was teaching what I was doing next, but the next came.
Amazing. I'll show some of the images while you're talking. Your work is so detailed.
Also, the 8th, my sister passed away August 8th. August is the 8th month of the year. So I realized this just recently. And she left, and she had a necklace like her daughter Matilde, which was infinite. So this is another symbol that you might see in my work a lot. 8 and infinite.
I see, yeah. And Carlotta, all the backgrounds of your fabric are all, you've dyed them through the techniques and the ancient recipes that you're discovering and
Yes, all this fabric has been dyed by me with natural plants and flowers. And so this is a beautiful process that I do during especially summer and fall,
Yeah.
autumn. And then this is beautiful pomegranate yellow. I'm always so surprised of the beautiful brightness of the pomegranate, and it's a beautiful gold, which is very similar to the rose sienna, actually. So
Yeah.
this is one, oh no, and freedom. And this is something, freedom is important to me. And I have to thank my husband, Luca, because if I married him, it's because of the fact he left me free. And
Wow.
as soon as my son Leah grew up, I started traveling again. And traveling is for me also as a child very important. Not child, I would say, because my mom and dad are not travelers. When I was a teenager, I started going to the United States in Chicago to visit a friend of mine, and I've seen students, affording their school, working. So coming back to Montalcino, I say bye bye. I go to Milan to study and afford myself working in a restaurant. So I know Gillian, my American mom, will be watching, not now because it's late at night, but I'm very grateful to that moment of my life. I was 16 years old, and
Wow.
myself opened so much to the world and changed completely my life. So now my husband is just giving me freedom to travel, and this is important as a person, as an artist.
That's a really great segue for us to move into how important connections are with you. I know that we've made some beautiful connections through Fiber Arts Take Two.
Yes.
Before I joined them, we met before I joined them in Lorna's course, of course.
Yes.
I have a message for you from Lorna, which I'd love to play. She filmed it this afternoon because she obviously knew that you were.
Wow, what a surprise.
Hi Carlotta, Lorna here. I'm in sunny Brisbane in Queensland at the moment, having a little bit of a break. And I just want to wish you a happy Friday Night Feature Artist. I'm so proud of the work that you've done and how you've carried yourself in my course in Perfectly Imperfect, and I've been keeping an eye on you, and I love your energy and enthusiasm. I love the way that you supported other artists in the group as well. But more importantly, just watching you grow as an artist, it has just been beyond all of my expectations about where you've landed. And I'm just so happy to follow you now on social media and within the groups as well. And enjoy this evening. You deserve all of this success. From the depths of my heart, I just want to wish you really well for the future. I think you're going to make a great tutor, but you're a beautiful, fine artist as well. So enjoy this evening tonight, and I look forward to catching up with you later on too. So all the best. Bye.
Oh, Lorna, how sweet is she? I mean, I met many teachers, especially in the last 4 years, but she's so sweet and so generous. I was mentioning her because she's not afraid. Just go. She knows that I would like to start making my classes, and without knowing, once she wrote me and said, feel free to share everything I share in the class if you are going to do workshop. And I was, oh my goodness, this is usually the opposite. When you assign to the class, don't share this. And she's like this, and she's right. She's right, because you cannot copy anyone. If you are really yourself, you just will mention. But if you are authentic, you cannot be Lorna. So I thank you, Lorna. What a beautiful surprise. Thank you.
And that's right, Carlotta. It's about being authentic, and we've said that a few times this evening. But
Yes.
coming back to the connections we've made, I would love to make a mention of your special friendship that you formed with Eleanor. And I've got some beautiful photographs here to share with you.
Oh, Eleanor.
So you recently went to America to stay with her, and you met Eleanor through Lorna's class. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually we did a few classes together. That's why I don't chat usually. I don't like chatting on social media, but I think it was with Lorna. She was moving somewhere and she started stitching with seaweeds. And I said, who is this magical soul that is going to the seaside and doesn't have threads and use the sea seeds? It makes sense. Makes sense to you, you know?
Yep.
So I said, Eleanor, I don't know how to pronounce her name. And I spent a couple of hours trying to pronounce, but she said, I love the way you pronounce, so forgive me. And I said, Eleanor, you are so beautiful. Where are you from? And so she was from Portland, and I wanted to go to Portland to meet another artist. And so she said, come to me, come to visit me. I will host you. And I say, wow, what happened? You know, connections. Because I was dreaming to go to Portland, and she was right from Portland. And we had so much fun, Deb. We had, you know, sometimes when I feel sad, I think about the two of us, and I start laughing because we had the most beautiful time together, and we were thinking a lot about fat, because this is really the most beautiful gift, creating connection. I live in a beautiful place, but it's very rural and very, how to say, I'm isolated, especially as an artist. So for me to meet you, to meet her, and to meet personally her was endless, endless gift.
A big warm hug. She really is a beautiful lady. She's made a comment on your thing. So beautiful. And then look who's popped into your feed.
Oh, Joe. Oh, ciao, Joe. Oh, now I cry.
and then, are you okay?
Yes. Thank you, Joe. I didn't know she was here.
Beautiful. Yeah. Very, very special. It's those people that are catalysts in our lives that you never forget, right?
Yeah.
Carlotta, I feel like I think that's a really beautiful place to come to an end of our wonderful, wonderful chat. But I think before we go, I would love to ask you, what's in the future for you? We feel like there's lots more to come in your journey.
I would be back. You know, life is like a thread. I think my thread risked to break in August 8, 19, but didn't break. Actually reinforced. And at that moment, at that stage, I was talking to my sister about sharing, about being able to form this circle of women. So also in my website, there is a part called workshops. So I really would like to start teaching, and more than teaching, because teach is like, oh, mamma mia, I'm very afraid of teaching, sharing, sharing what I've learned, and also from my personal experience of resilience that my sister gave to me, and also to be able to share my studio, my land, and my skills, and to do this. And also, I don't know, sometimes very recently I have a vision of a way to make sculpture again and put together my technique with my new way to express myself, which is not so much figurative anymore, but maybe to work on the surface with this new way of collaging and new marks that they're so deeply mine now. So who knows? I don't know. I'm curious as well as you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. You sent me a beautiful poem, and you mentioned in our conversations, which I'll ask Ange to put the link up for us before we go, is the thing that had a lot of impact with you on what Dorothy Caldwell said, and the interview that Dorothy and Claire Ben had. Would be good for people to watch that, just if they're interested in following your journey, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you like me to read the poem that you sent to me?
Yes. Oh, okay. So this poem is something very special to me, and this is a way to say goodbye to the people and thank them to be here, and for those who will watch later, because when I was listening to this poem, I was with my sister in 2018, and in a beautiful moment, dark, and this man started saying this poem of Walt Whitman. And while he was pronouncing these words, my sister and I held our hands very tightly, and we knew that every single word of this poem was resonating with our soul deeply. So it became like a prayer for the two of us. And I want to share with you, because really this is the way I see at life. And I see also as an artist, we have to go on and we have to share and we have to be happy and honored to be in this life every single moment.
Absolutely. I believe a leaf of grass is no less than the journey work of the stars. I swear, I think now that everything, without exception, has an eternal soul. I praise with electric voice, for I do not see one imperfection in the universe, and I do not see one cause or result lamentable at last in the universe. The question, O me, so sad recurring, what good amid these? Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Deb, for reading it. It's very important to me.
Thank you. And thank you so much for being here tonight with us, Carlotta. It's been absolutely wonderful. We've really all enjoyed it. Everybody has. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And ciao to everybody. Thank you for listening to us. And it was a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you.